Hey folks, it's 12:46 on Thursday, May 16th. And I'm here at DHS, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement building. Sorry? I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Taking pictures, you gotta stay on the sidewalk. You cannot do it on this government property.
Any public area, I can do it.
I said, you can take pictures, but you gotta do it on the sidewalk.
Actually, any public area. The DHS issued a memo in 2018 that any public area within a federal facility can be taken photos and videos of for news purposes.
But you can't take it on government property.
As long as it's not restricted government property, I can. So this isn't restricted, so I can take photos here.
Alright, we'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a copy of the memo right here for you if you'd like.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Hey everybody, I know I have a lot of explaining to do because you've never seen me before or heard of me probably, so let me start right here. I'm actually a 39-year-old retired cop from New Jersey, and I retired in 2013 after being involved in a fatal shooting incident on duty. I'm sure I'll get into that stuff in more detail another time, guys. For now, let's talk about this video. This is Accountability Media. He's one of the best First Amendment auditors on YouTube at this time, hands down. And even though The Disconnect is a brand new channel and is in no position to tell people to follow someone else, I definitely suggest you follow this man immediately. He has a unique style and definitely a lot of knowledge. So anyway, what brings me here? A couple of months ago, I came across a video from San Joaquin Valley Transparency. I watched it. I never saw a First Amendment video before, and I was totally impressed with the fact that he was trying to give people an education on the First Amendment and the freedom to film in public. And as you all know, once YouTube realizes you like something, they start feeding you with all of the other content providers that do the same thing. I started seeing High Desert, SGV, News Now California, you name it. It was in my feed within a week, and I started to binge watch, analyzing what everyone was doing, picking out the good and the bad and the frustrating.
How's it going?
Good.
All right.
Can I help you?
Nope, nothing I need help with other than your officers seem to not know that I can take pictures in public areas. So, any area on federal property that's not restricted, DHS issued a memo in 2018. I've got a copy of it right here. Any area that is not specifically restricted, I actually can take photos and videos.
I have no problem with you doing that. I have no problem with you doing that.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
But the line is on the other side of the barrier. You're actually on the government side.
Right. But what I'm saying is that even though I am on federal property, it's not restricted federal property, so I can take photos and video here. So like, I don't know if there's a lobby in there that's before, like...
Well, you can't go to the lobby.
So,
Unless you have
is the lobby restricted?
It goes without saying that Accountability Media is extremely knowledgeable, extremely professional, and you'll see soon that he's extremely patient as well. For those of you who have never watched Accountability Media, I wanted you to see this footage before I said anything, because it doesn't take a genius to realize that this guy knows his stuff and he's not willing to back down no matter what anybody says to him.
telling him, he said he got some papers.
Call FPS. Call
FPS.
I mean, FPS is going to tell you the same thing that I'm going to tell you, because...
You go on the other side of the ballot.
No, ma'am, I don't.
Call FPS.
You want to read the DHS memo?
I do not.
Oh my god. Alright, so take a look at this lady. This is the one that says, call FPS. The security guard basically walks away, and the auditor asks this lady in her tactical regalia whether or not she wants to see the DHS memo saying that he can do what he's doing, and she says, nope.
10-4 on government property side.
On the government side.
The government side. These people really seem to be convinced that being on the other side of those pylons is like a big thing. Isn't it amazing that this woman is basically in charge of the frontline security of a federal facility?
I can ask you not to point that camera at me though, if you don't mind.
Sir, you're a public official.
Sir, do not be videoing my officer. You need to turn your video camera off. You need to turn your video camera off. Video camera off.
No, sir, I don't.
Yes, you do. You're on government property.
Yes, I know that.
And you cannot record.
There's actually a policy pertaining to this. This is the DHS memo from 2018 about photography and videography in publicly accessible areas on federal property.
It says for news, advertising, or commercial purpose.
I'm news purpose.
Okay, you got news identification?
I don't need to provide you a press pass, sir.
You cannot be out here. Matter of fact, now you shouldn't be videoing me. You cannot be out here. Matter of fact, now you shouldn't be
Oh, sir, that's not acceptable.
It's not accepting you videoing me either.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Yes.
No, it's not.
There's no expectation of privacy in public, and furthermore, you're being paid with our tax dollars.
I'm not paying with your tax dollars, sir. I don't work for you.
Yes, but you are working for U.S. Department of Homeland Security.
I don't work for them either.
Your agency is contracted by them. Your office is contracted by them, and furthermore, even if you're not a public official yourself, you are in public. So it doesn't matter who it is. You could be a private citizen as long as you're in public.
Did he call FPS? Okay.
All right, so I provided him with a copy of the memo. He's taking inside, I'm sure, to take a look at. And he actually battered me and touched my camera, closed it.
All right, so we had some fun with the footage here. I hope you guys had a few laughs out of it. I know I did. But there's some very important things that were covered during that time, and I want to make sure that nobody missed it. First of all, from what we can see so far between the security officers and even that lady that was giving them orders, it seems that there's just a ton of ignorance and this attitude that, you know, this is a federal building and what we say goes. Everyone has this stigma, especially the employees, that they're superior and anyone coming in from the outside has to obey them, otherwise they could face some serious penalties because it's a federal building. I want to be clear about something. When I make these little jokes or you know, the video editing stuff that I do, and it kind of seems like I'm making fun of people, to be quite honest, I am not into making fun of people or pointing out their lack of intelligence. Ignorance is the problem I have. It doesn't matter your education level or your background, whether you're a criminal or a cop, an auditor, or, you know, whatever. If you're ignorant and you're unwilling to listen to reason, if you're presented with a document and expected to read it so that you can resolve the issue that's being presented to you and you refuse to me, you're an ignorant person, and that needs to be called out and addressed, especially if you're a frontline employee that's tasked with dealing with the public face to face and interacting with them. If you don't have the brain capacity or the professionalism to have a successful interaction with somebody that's not just going to obey everything you say, then you shouldn't be there. If you can't handle a person rebutting what you tell them to do or coming up with a better argument for your argument, then you should just shut your mouth. I mean, this guy coming out and giving directives and talking about how this is a federal building and you can't, you know, film You're on the wrong side of the pylons. This side's the federal side, and that side's the civilian side. It's all nonsense. And if you're not prepared to have that debate or listen to reason, then you should shut your mouth. I mean, it's simple, right? Now, because of the ignorance, because of the lack of reason, Accountability Media had his camera touched, which is not okay. And he was basically, in essence, detained this whole time because the guy took his paper and he was being prevented from doing what he came to do. None of it's okay. And it's all because of this ignorance.
Alright, Michelangelo Jenkins.
No, it ain't no Michelle, sir.
Michelangelo.
No, ain't no Michelle, sir.
Alright, you know you can't just go up and grab people's stuff and batter me like that.
I did not grab anything while you got your camera towards you.
Yes, I have your camera, my camera towards you. It's not illegal.
You're not supposed to, baby. Ain't nobody in security knows the equipment whatsoever.
Sorry? What did you just say?
Mr. Jenkins, I just provided you the copy of the
Memo that...
I will get this copy to FPS when they come.
Yes, I'm saying that I'm fully within...
Commander Powell.
May I get my copy back to show to them?
I will give it to them myself, sir.
So now you're withholding my property from me? Sir, I provided you with that and now I'm asking it back. It wasn't for you to keep.
I will give it to the law enforcement official when they arrive.
It's my property and I would like it back. I'm happy to give it to them myself. You can't withhold my property from me.
I'm going to give it to the official when he shows up.
I'm asking for you for it back and you're withholding it from me. Mr. Jenkins, you can't do that.
I decided to keep it, sir.
Yes, but you are withholding it from me right now when I'm requesting it back. So I would like it back.
I will give it to the law official when he shows up, sir.
Sir, you're withholding my property from me. You battered me, grabbed my camera, now want to withhold my property from me? FPS wasn't interested, I guess. Sir, your officer is withholding my property from me. Alright, so these guys work for Paragon Systems. Michelangelo Jenkins was just the officer who assaulted me and grabbed my camera. And he's now withholding my property from me. Sir, you've still got my property. Now you're playing hide and seek. Are you a security officer or a toddler? And he's taking my property inside. Thank you. Yep, it's your right and it's my right too. Now, how would you feel if I came up and grabbed your camera from you? You'd probably press charges, right? Yeah? I'll be having a word with Paragon Systems about you, and I'll be having a word with Homeland Security and FPS if they ever show up. This is really childish. All right, so here we are.
No, where was he at?
So that gentleman's name is L. Simonson.
All right, I'll talk to you. How you doing, sir?
Not bad. How are you doing today?
Sorry.
Officer Patterson?
Yep. Badge number 1263.
Appreciate that.
All right, so you have every right to videotape, right?
Uh-huh.
We have, only thing is, we need to keep you on this side of the fence. So,
you mean of the bollards there?
Ballards is the boundary.
Okay, so actually, any public area within any federal space, here's your memo. Any public area within any federal space, aka any area that's not other side, aka any area that's not specifically restricted.
Okay.
I am allowed to videotape and photograph for news purposes, so I can go there. I could even go in the lobby and photograph and videotape as long as it's before a security checkpoint.
It is signage there, though. Notification on the door.
That says no photography.
Yeah. You're good.
All right. Well, I'll go in and check that sign inside, but yeah, any public space.
Okay, I'm saying you can. You're good. You can film if you have the right to. You have the right to see.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So they call me. I have to show up. And
I know how it is.
Okay.
Sorry for wasting your time.
Alright, so Michelangelo got what he wanted and FPS showed up. Officer Patterson from the FPS, at first, you could tell he definitely knew that these guys didn't know what they were talking about, but he was going to do his best to help them save face. So he first tried to come over and, I guess, fast talk accountability media, and then he quickly learned that that wasn't going to work out the way he had planned, or the way it normally works out with other people. And that's the power of being educated, but also the power of being polite and not giving them any rope to hang you with. If you go there with an attitude, if you go there acting belligerent, they're going to find another way to dismiss your problem or your claim and make one of their own. I'm not 100% sure what made me choose this video from Accountability Media's lineup, but it's probably just because it was one of the most recent, or the most recent at the time. I will tell you this though, I'm in no position to tell you guys who to follow and what videos to watch, who to subscribe to, but definitely subscribe to Accountability Media if you like someone that can carry themselves this way without the cursing and carrying on. There's no other auditor out there like this, and I'm going to leave a link in the description for you. He's really amazing. Now, what you see on the screen right now, where he's speaking one-on-one with the DHS officer, Patterson, he's basically explaining to the officer that he was battered and that his camera may be damaged. And the officer totally blows him off. He says, "You're fine. I don't think your camera's damaged." And he basically just walks away, gets in his car. And this is for the same reason why the security officer, Michelangelo, was being dismissive and not really giving him the service that he deserved. It's because of the ego. Accountability Media shut this officer down. His little tactic of, verbal judo did not work on Accountability Media, and he wasn't happy about it. So now, because of that, Accountability Media deserves to be treated unprofessionally and to be walked away from and to have his valid concerns and complaints not be heard. Things like this just really do make me sick. I know I revealed already that I was a police officer. I was a cop for 11 years. And when I make these videos, my first video already got a bunch of comments, and a few of the people were saying, I don't trust a cop, retired or active duty, and that's all fine. I mean, you're entitled to that, and I knew that was coming. But the reason I'm doing these videos and the reason I'm saying the things I say is because I was once Officer Patterson. I was once some of these other cops that we watch that are just shitty to people. And I learned from that. I learned that my authority and my badge was not more important than someone else's feelings or their rights. And I'm proud to say that I did go through my entire career never having violated anyone's civil rights or having any lawsuits against me or even any substantiated complaints from any civilians. I had a pretty great career, actually. And I actually made a positive impact in many people's lives, which I'm sure eventually I'll get into. But still in all, I'm not happy with the way I was. I'm not happy with who I became because of this uniform and because of how I was groomed to behave out in public and to look at criminals. And that's why I'm doing this, guys. That's just how it is. That's what it is. I'm here to expose, in a way, what I was and what I've learned, and try to help other people to learn the same thing. People meaning cops and civilians. Civilians so that they can understand that we are human beings and we are capable of realizing that we've made mistakes and we can change. But also for cops to realize that maybe you should take a look in the mirror and think about whether or not you're going out there and doing the right thing, or that you may end up retiring and looking back and having some regret about some of the things you did, and realizing that it's not too late to change. It's not too late to start watching these videos and realizing that you could be the next YouTube sensation. And do you really want that for yourself or your family? Whew. Damn, guys, I was not planning on saying any of this stuff. I really wasn't, and I'm sorry that I'm talking so long. If you can make it through the rest of my little speech here, I promise there's another short little piece of video from Accountability Media. And if you like having an insight into the thoughts and processes of people who are on YouTube, cops or auditors, whatever it is, then you definitely want to stick around till the end of this video. But you know what? I'm even right now I'm looking at the screen and I'm looking at the same officer you guys are looking at in slow motion. And you know what I see? I see a husband. He's got a wedding band on. He's probably got kids. He's got the dad body going on. And I have 2 girls. I'm a single dad. And even though they were really young when I was still a cop, I retired in 2013. It's 2019 now. I can still remember like it was yesterday when I was married and my kids were younger. And, coming home after a shift or a double. And, if it was a rough day or a rough shift, having to leave my stress behind and try to enjoy my family. But then the thought of having to come home and potentially tell my family or my wife at the time something bad. I didn't want to go through that any more than the next cop did. And it's in many ways it's what kept me straight. It's what kept my nose clean while I was out there. I didn't want to let my family down, to be honest. And I never did anything wrong that I had to explain to my family. But I mentioned to you guys that I was in a shooting. I was actually involved in 2. But the last one being the worst one and being a career ender, I had to, at some point, buck up and realize it's time to go home and explain this to my family. I didn't do anything wrong. Somebody tried to kill me and my partners, and I had to discharge my weapon, and I took his life. And from the moment that happened, I had confidence that legally I was totally fine and protected, but, that hit me hard. And it was so hard to go home and just explain that to my wife, and knew that one day I had to explain that to my kids. That was so hard for me. Imagine if I had done something wrong. Imagine if I had to explain something 10 times harder, you know, that I wasn't justified in doing to those same family members. I mean, you guys don't have any idea how heavy that would have been. Now, I don't know how well this channel will do. I don't know if my voice will be heard by more than a couple of hundred people, and I don't know if anything I say or do has an impact. What I do know is that my intention is to reach as many people, both citizen and, you know, public official, get my message through to them, and have them stand by while I create more content, because the goal here is eventually, throughout all of my videos, I'm going to expose what makes cops act the way they do. Okay? Think about this real quick, and this will be my final thought. Imagine if I could prove to you that most of the bad cops that are out there, the cops that you hate, actually weren't such bad people at all before they put that uniform on, and that probably the uniform itself, the power that comes with it, the way they were trained or the lack of their training, and just their environment in general is what they're corrupted by. It's what corrupts them. Okay? Putting that uniform on turns good men into cheaters, liars, violent men. You know, and I'm willing to stand here and use my own examples of my own failures and the ways that the uniform actually corrupted my personality and changed me from being the good man that my father raised, as ways to teach you guys and the cops, the public, the auditors, whoever, that I wasn't born to be a jerk. I wasn't born to make people feel less than me with my authority. I wasn't born to lie. It's what was done to me. It's what I became because of this uniform.
There's a benefit to negative interaction.
There's a monetary benefit to negative interactions, right? And there are a lot of people who do what I do who will be very provocative in various ways.
Correct.
I tend to shy away from that because if I give public officials a neutral set of circumstances, you know, the most neutral I can make it, just someone filming in public areas, and I'm polite with them, then any egg on their face is one that they smash there themselves.